The jungle moon of Shidar was a planet of storms, fireflies, and death, Commander Jack Miles. A human soldier from Earth was separated from his squad during a surprise ambush by the Dravery Empire. The air smelled like burnt metal. Purple lightning danced across the sky, crackling through the thick alien trees. His communicator was dead. His leg was bleeding from a plasma burn, and all he had was one rifle, half a power cell, and a stubborn will to survive. Jack was no stranger to war. He had fought in 5 systems, survived the siege of Rigel 5, and watched friends die in his arms. But this time, something felt different. It wasn't fear, it was silence. Deep, pressing silence. Even the insects had stopped chirping. He heard a low growl. Turning fast, he aimed his rifle toward the sound. Something moved behind a broken tree trunk, tall, armored, graceful. Jack fired once, not to kill, just to warn. "Show yourself." Figure stepped into the open, and Jack's heart froze. She was Dravari tall, with glowing violet eyes and armor that shimmered like oil under moonlight. Her helmet was cracked. Blood ran down one side of her face. In her hand she held a long, curved blade, but it dropped. As soon as she saw him, then she fell to one knee, panting. Jack didn't move for several seconds. This was the enemy. The Dravari were at war with humanity, proud, ruthless, and advanced. But this one, she looked exhausted, hurt, alone. "I'm not here to kill you," she said in near-perfect English. Her voice was soft, almost musical. I only want shelter." Jack hesitated. "Do you speak English?" She smiled weakly. "You'd be surprised what princesses are taught." Jack's eyes widened. "You're a royal Virilia," she said, "second daughter of the high throne of Dravari Prime." Jack raised an eyebrow. "So you're a real princess?" She nodded, her body shaking. "And now, stranded." "One." Jack lowered his weapon. Against all reason, something inside him said she wasn't lying, and he wasn't a killer, not of the wounded. "All right, princess. But if you try anything," he tapped the side of his rifle, "I won't hesitate." Virilia nodded. "Fair." They built a small camp under the roots of a fallen tree. Jack patched up her wound with a field medkit, while she helped reinforce the shelter using broken branches and thermal blankets. Hours passed. The storm grew. Louder. Thunder boomed across the sky like war drums. Inside the shelter, Jack sat across from her, watching carefully. "Why were you alone?" Virilia stared into the flickering light of a tiny fire. "My shuttle was shot down by your fighters. I survived the crash. My guards didn't." Jack tilted his head. "Why weren't you rescued?" "Because I told them not to come," she whispered. "Why?" She looked at him, then really looked. Her eyes were full of something he didn't expect from a Dravari warrior, sadness, maybe even shame. "I was tired of being used for war speeches and propaganda. I wanted to see the front lines myself. I didn't think I'd survive them." Jack sighed. "Yeah, war looks different when you're standing in the mud, not on a throne." Virilia chuckled softly. "You're more honest than most humans I've met. And you're the first alien who hasn't tried to kill me." That made them both smile. Over the next 2 days, the storm kept them trapped together. They shared food, Jack's nutrient bars, and Virelia's dried seaweed cubes that tasted like minty paper. They took turns keeping watch. They also talked Jack. Told her about Earth, the blue oceans, the festivals, the taste of street food. He described how humans mourned their dead with music, how they celebrated birthdays with cake. Virilia shared stories of Dravari Prime, the twin suns, the glowing rivers, the bond dances of her people. She spoke of honor, of legacy, and how her people feared death, not for its pain, but for its silence. And somewhere in those stories, they stopped being enemies. On the 3rd night, the storm finally cleared. The stars above Shidar were brighter than ever. Jack stood outside the shelter, looking up, rifle slung over his shoulder. Virilia joined him. "They'll be looking for you," she said quietly. "Your people." Jack nodded. "Same for you." They stood in silence for a long time. Then she turned toward him and reached out her hand. May I? He hesitated, then offered his forearm. She gently pressed her fingertips into his skin, and a soft, glowing symbol appeared like ink made of light. A curve with 3 points. "What is that?" Jack asked. "It's the Dravari sigil 4 remembered," she said softly. "A mark we give to those who change us." Jack was quiet. The light pulsed faintly on his skin. "Will it stay?" "Only if you want it to." He looked into her eyes. "Then yes. I want it to stay." Suddenly, both of them froze. They heard the humming sound of a ship, low, powerful, approaching fast. It was a human dropship. Jack looked at Varelia. "You need to go, if they see you." She nodded. "I know. They'll shoot me on sight." She grabbed her blade and helmet. As she turned to run into the jungle, she paused. Then, without thinking, she stepped forward and pressed her forehead gently to his. A Dravari sign of deep respect, or maybe something more. "I will not forget you, Jack Miles." She vanished into the trees. The dropship landed minutes later. Jack was found by his squad, patched up, debriefed, and sent home. He never told them about the alien princess, but he kept the mark on his arm. Hidden under his sleeve, a secret reminder of the night he found something beautiful in the middle of war, something he never forgot. 30 years had passed since Commander Jack Miles left the jungle moon of Shidar. 30 years since he saw the Dravari Princess Varelia. But he remembered every moment, the storm, the firelight, the symbol glowing on his arm. He still had the mark. It didn't fade. Now he was no longer a soldier. Just a quiet man living in a quiet corner of space, far from war, far from politics. Jack lived on Tarses 9, an asteroid colony on the edge of human coalition space. It was a place for old men, ex-smugglers, broken robots, and people who wanted to disappear. Jack ran a small junk hauler. He collected broken satellites, dead probes, and leftover battle wreckage. It wasn't exciting, but it was peaceful. He thought peace was all he wanted. But peace doesn't last long in the galaxy. It started small. One morning, while checking his ship's system logs, Jack noticed something strange, a black box ping. It was a signal hidden inside his ship's nav logs. Not human. Not coalition. Not even pirate code, just one symbol. The Dravari sigil 4 remembered. Jack stared at the screen for a long time. His coffee grew cold. No one else knew that. Symbol he had never told anyone about the princess. He hadn't seen another Dravari in 30 years. His chest felt tight. Was it a message? A warning? A memory? He deleted the signal, but kept a backup, just in case. A few days later, things got stranger. He noticed a drone outside his ship. Small, silver, almost invisible in the darkness of space. At first he thought it was a miner's drone just passing by. But when he scanned it, it disappeared. No signal, no trail. Then came the encrypted messages. Each one was short. "She is coming. Prepare. Human. They know." Jack tried tracing the messages, but they bounced across 10 different satellite arrays and vanished into deep space. Even old military tools couldn't follow them. That night, Jack sat at his table with a drink, staring at the glowing mark on his forearm. It still shimmered faintly in the dark, like a firefly. He whispered to himself, "Is it really you, Varelia?" After all these years. Far away, on the other side of the galaxy, Princess Varelia stood on the bridge of her warship, staring at a star map. Her armor was now black and gold, lined with battle scars. Her face was calm, but her eyes burned with silent fire. "Any sign of the human?" she asked. Her advisor, a four-eyed strategist named Talrin, bowed. "Not yet, Your Grace. But our probes confirm activity on Tarses 9, very old military signature. It matches your memory scan." Varelia nodded slowly. "He's alive. You are sure he will remember you?" Talrin asked. Varelia didn't answer right away. She placed a hand over her heart.
Yeah.
There, under her armor, was a tiny tattoo. The same sigil she had once marked on Jack. She had given it to herself after the war, when she couldn't find him. "He saved my life," she said quietly, "and he changed the way I see humans. If I find him again, I'll tell him the truth, even if the council forbids it." Varelia's voice hardened. "The council doesn't control my memory, or my heart." Back on Tarsi's 9, Jack tried to ignore the warnings. He continued his routine, flying out to asteroid fields, collecting scrap, and pretending the past was still behind him. But one night, he was attacked. It happened when he stepped into a docking bay to refuel. The lights flickered, and he heard something, a click, a hiss, a soft hum. He turned around, and a tall figure stood at the edge of the shadows. Not Dravari, not human, something else. The figure stepped forward. Its body was covered in sharp silver armor. Its face was hidden behind a mask shaped like a fang. In its hand was a blade made of dark energy. Jack backed away slowly, pulling his old blaster. The figure spoke in a rough, mechanical voice. "She is coming for you, human, but we will take you first." Jack didn't wait. He fired 3 shots. One missed. To hit the figure's chest, but it didn't fall. It growled and charged. Jack ducked, rolled, and fired again, this time aiming. For the head, the mask cracked. Sparks flew. The creature hissed and vanished into smoke. Jack stood there, panting, heart racing. His blaster was shaking in his hands. Who were they? Why were they hunting him? Back on his ship, Jack activated every old military tool he still had. Motion sensors, cloaking scanners, firewall defense. He even dug out a small box from under his bed, an old Dravari pendant he had taken from Scheider. It was the only thing he kept from that time, other than the mark, and then the real signal came. Not a warning, not a drone, but a voice. It came. Through the comes, clear, steady, unmistakable. "Jack Miles, if you can hear this. It's me, Varelia." Jack froze. The voice was the same, soft, strong, noble. Time hadn't erased her tone. It had only made it stronger. "I don't know if you remember me," she continued, "but I never forgot you. I searched for you. For years. And now, I've found you. Please don't run." The message ended. Jack sat down hard in his pilot's chair. He didn't know what to feel. Shock, relief, fear, hope. Played the message again and again and again. 3 hours later, his ship's screen lit up. A direct transmission was coming. Through a face appeared. It was her. Varelia, older now, but just as fierce. Her eyes locked on his. Double quotes, "Hello, Jack." Jack leaned back, a stunned smile creeping onto his face. "You actually found me," she nodded. "I said I would. I thought it was just a moment, a memory. I didn't know you'd still care." Varelia's voice softened. "That moment saved my soul. It wasn't small to me." Jack exhaled slowly. "Then why are people trying to kill me?" Varelia's face turned serious. "'Cause you matter more than you know. And there are forces in both our worlds that fear what you and I represent. Peace. You came to warn. Me. I came to protect you, and to ask for your help." Jack looked down at his glowing mark. Then he looked back at her. "Where do we meet?" The space station hung silently in the black void above the cold star, a forgotten relic from an old war. Dust covered its rusted hull, and broken lights flickered weakly inside. This was where Jack Miles had agreed to meet the one person he never thought he'd see again, Varelia, the Dravari warrior princess who had saved his life 30 years ago. Jack's ship, an old freighter patched up many times, eased into the docking bay. The station's gravity hummed faintly as he stepped onto the metal floor. His pulse quickened. This was not a friendly place. It was abandoned, but not empty. Something waited here. Jack's forearm tingled with the faint glow of the remembered sigil. He touched it lightly, reminding himself why he was here. The last message from Varelia had been clear. "Trust me. We can stop what's coming." Inside the main chamber, a shadow moved. Jack stepped forward, eyes scanning. Then she appeared, Ayler. Stronger, her armor shining with golden edges. Scars on her face told stories of battles survived. Her violet eyes were the same, fierce and deep, locking onto Jack's instantly. "Jack," she said softly, stepping toward him. He swallowed hard. "Virelia, you look different." She smiled, a mix of sadness and hope. 30 years changed us both. Jack looked around the dark room. "Why here? Why this place?" "This station is a secret," she explained, "hidden from both Dravari and humans. A place where the past can be faced." Jack nodded slowly. "You wanted to talk about the past." She hesitated. "And the future." Virelia led him deeper into the station, down corridors lit by flickering lights. The air smelled old oil, dust, memories. They stopped in front of a large holographic table. With a wave of her hand, the map of two empires appeared, humans on one side, Dravari on the other, their borders tense and close. "Do you remember?" "The last battle?" Virelia asked. Jack nodded. "Scheider, the jungle moon. I saved your life." She nodded slowly. "And you changed mine." Jack looked down. "I never thought you'd find me again." "I never stopped looking," she said quietly. "The war still rages in many hearts. There are extremists on both sides who want it to continue." Jack clenched his fists. "Why? What do they want?" "Power," Virelia said. "Control. They want to use fear and hate to rule both our peoples." She touched a panel, bringing up images of weapons, ancient, powerful, hidden away on a small moon near Dravari space. "They plan to restart the war with a terrible weapon," she said. "A war AI that can control fleets and armies. If it activates, millions will die." Jack felt a chill. "Can it be stopped?" "Yes, but it requires both our help. Only a human can disable its control system." Jack stared at her. "That's why." "Me. You left a neural imprint in their system 30 years ago when you saved me. You are the only one who can shut it down." Jack rubbed his arm where the glowing sigil was. "So I'm stuck with this forever." Virelia smiled softly. "It's a mark of hope." Suddenly, alarms blared through the station. Virelia's face hardened. "They found us." Before Jack could react, the station shook violently. Metal groaned. Lights flickered. "They sent a strike team," she said, drawing her weapon, a sleek energy blade glowing blue. Jack grabbed his rifle. "Let's show them what humans can do." The strike team burst into the chamber, armored soldiers, with cold, angry eyes, Dravari extremists. They moved fast, but Jack and Virelia were faster. Back to back, they fought like they had trained together for years. Jack's rifle cracked with each shot, while Virelia's blade sliced through enemy armor. Their teamwork was instinctive, a perfect balance of human grit and alien precision. Jack felt his heart race, but also a strange calm. Fighting beside Virelia again was like coming home. After minutes that felt like hours, the last attacker fell. Jack lowered his rifle. "That was close." Virelia nodded. "Too close. They will not stop. We need to move now." Virelia led Jack to a small shuttle hidden in the depths of the station. "Where are we going?" "To the weapon moon," she said. "The last chance to stop the war?" Jack hesitated. "What if we fail?" Virelia looked at him, her eyes steady. "Then we fight anyway. For peace. For the future." Jack nodded, feeling the weight of the moment. "All right. Let's go." The shuttle launched into the dark, stars streaking past. During the flight, Jack and Virelia talked quietly. "I never forgot you," she said. Jack smiled. "Neither did I. Because you showed me something real. Mercy. Honor. That even in war we can be better." Virelia's eyes softened. "You changed my world, Jack." Jack looked at her. "Maybe together we can change the whole galaxy." As the shuttle neared the weapon moon, a deadly silence filled the cockpit. The moon was a fortress, metal plates covering the surface, anti-air guns blinking red, and drones circling like angry wasps. Virelia reached out, activating the comms. "This is Empress Virelia and Commander Jack Miles. We come in peace. Stand down," double quote static. Then a harsh voice replied, "Peace. You betray the Dravari. You will die." The shuttle shook as weapons fired. Jack gripped his seat. "We're not wanted." Varelia's jaw tightened. "Then we'll make them want peace." The battle had just begun. The shuttle shook violently as laser blasts hammered its hull. Outside, the weapon moon was alive with defense system turrets turning, drones buzzing, and warning sirens blaring. Jack gripped the armrests tightly. Varelia's eyes were fierce, her fingers steady on the controls. "We have to land," she said. "The control center is just beneath us." Jack nodded, checking his rifle and scanning the incoming fire. "I hope they don't want to kill us before we even get there." Varelia gave a bitter smile. "They do." The shuttle slammed onto the metal surface of the moon. Alarms echoed inside as the landing gear struggled to hold against the shaking. Ground. The ramp lowered, with a hiss. "Ready?" Varelia asked. Jack stood, gripping his rifle. "Always." They stepped into a harsh world of cold metal walls, sharp shadows, and humming machines. The air smelled like burnt circuits and oil. Somewhere deep inside, a war AI pulsed waiting, hungry. Their goal was clear: reach the control center, shut down the AI, and stop the weapon before it could be used. Moving quickly, they navigated dark corridors lined with blinking lights and warning signs. Drones hovered silently, scanning for threats. "Stay close," Varelia whispered. Jack nodded, feeling the weight of the mission. "I never thought I'd be back here, fighting beside you." Varelia glanced at him. "Bonds never break." Suddenly an alarm blared louder. "Hostiles incoming," Varelia growled. They prepared for battle. A squad of heavily armored soldiers rounded the cornered Dravari extremists. Armed and ready, Jack fired first. His rifle cracked sharply in the silence, hitting one enemy's chest plate. Varelia moved. Like a shadow, her energy blade flashing through the air, cutting down two attackers in a single sweep. Jack covered her as she advanced. Dodging blasts and breaking through defenses, the fight was fierce, close, and deadly. After the last attacker fell, Jack wiped sweat from his brow. "We're close," Varelia said, pointing to a steel door covered in symbols. "This is it," Jack said. They entered the control center inside. Walls were lined with screens showing star maps, weapon status, and most importantly, countdown timer. Jack's eyes widened. "How much time do we have?" Varelia studied the timer. "Less than 10 minutes. The AI system was designed to start a new war, a war where humans and Dravari would be puppets." It was cold, calculating, and deadly. Jack walked to the main console. "I need to hack the system," he said. Varelia stood guard, her blade ready. Jack's fingers moved fast over the keyboard, bypassing firewalls and security codes. The glowing mark on his arm pulsed in rhythm with the system's heartbeat. Suddenly, a voice boomed through the room. "Intruders detected. Initiating defense protocol." Robotic sentries emerged from hidden compartments, metal claws snapping. Jack and Varelia exchanged a quick look. "Hold them off," Jack shouted. The sentries attacked fiercely. Jack fired, but the machines were fast and strong. Varelia darted between them, slicing and striking with precision. One sentry grabbed Jack's leg, trying to crush him. He kicked hard and broke free, firing at its power core. Sparks flew. Minutes felt like hours. Jack's hacking progress bar crept forward, then suddenly the system locked him out. Access denied. Jack cursed. "They're fighting me electronically now." Varelia's eyes narrowed. "I'll buy you time." She dashed toward a control panel, overriding locks. While Jack tried to regain access, the sentries closed in. Jack looked at the glowing sigil on his arm and whispered, "Come on, don't fail me now." Just as the timer hit 2 minutes, Jack's screen flickered, access granted. He smiled weakly. "Got it. Finish it," Varelia shouted. Jack typed the shutdown command. The countdown stopped. The AI's voice grew faint. "System failure. Shutting down. ... The sentries froze and collapsed. Silence filled the room. They both exhaled deeply. Jack leaned back. We did it. Virilia smiled, stepping close. Together. Then, a distant rumble shook the moon. It's not over, Virilia said. The moon's surface cracked, revealing a hidden hangar filled with warships. They brought reinforcements. Jack said grimly. Outside, alarms screamed. Dravari ships launched into space, weapons charging. Jack looked at Virilia. We can't fight them all, she nodded. But we don't have to. Virilia activated her comms. This is Empress Virilia. To all Dravari loyalists, the war ends now. Lay down your weapons. Join me in peace. The ships hesitated. Jack grinned. That's a bold move. Virilia's eyes burned brighter. The galaxy deserves better. Some ships powered down their weapons. Others moved to attack. The battle for peace had just begun. Jack and Virilia stood side by side, ready for whatever came next. The stars above the weapon moon looked peaceful. But war had begun again. Virilia stood tall on the command platform watching the fleet. Her voice had gone out to every Dravari ship nearby, calling for peace. Some had listened. Some had not. Jack. Miles stood beside her, gripping his rifle. He was tired, covered in dust and burns, but his eyes were alert. He had not come this far to fail now. We stopped the AI, he said, but they're still coming. Virilia nodded. Yes, the ones who want war are afraid of what peace means. They will fight harder now. Jack looked at her. But then, we fight harder too. In orbit, the Dravari rebel fleet closed in. Their ships were dark, shaped like flying blades. Engines glowed blue as they powered weapons. The leader of the rebel fleet, Commander Kraith, appeared on the station's main screen. His face was sharp and cold, his voice full of hate. You betrayed your kind, Virilia, he growled, fighting beside a human. You should be ashamed. I am proud, she replied firmly, because this human showed me what honor truly means. Jack smirked. Nice speech. Kraith's eyes narrowed. We will burn the station, and you both with it. The screen went black. Virilia turned to Jack. We can't match their firepower. Not alone. Jack nodded. But maybe we don't have to. He tapped the controls, opening a secret comlink. This is Commander Jack Miles. To any Earthfleet units in range, we need help. This is not an attack. This is a chance to stop the war forever. Please respond. Silence then, Commander Miles. This is the ESF Valiant. We hear you. Jack smiled. Took you long enough. Minutes later, the stars shifted. 3 Earthfleet ships emerged from hyperspace, silver and armed. They flew in formation, side by side with Virilia's loyal Dravari ships, for the first time in history. Human and Dravari vessels faced the enemy together. Virilia's voice echoed across all channels. To every warrior who still holds hate in their heart, look at us. A human and a Dravari. It's enemies once, partners now. The war is over. Let us write a new future. The battle began. Red and blue beams lit up space. Missiles cut through the black sky. Shields flared and engines burned. Ships exploded like stars dying too soon. Inside the weapon moon, Jack and Virilia directed the defenses. The station shook with each impact. They're pushing hard, Jack said. Too hard. Virilia frowned. They want to destroy the station before it can become a symbol of peace. Jack looked at the main reactor core. Then we need to protect it. Suddenly alarms blared. Boarding parties, shouted a crew member. Kraith wasn't just attacking from space. He had sent soldiers into the station. Jack grabbed his rifle. Time to get our hands dirty again. Virilia drew her blade. It's just like old times. They ran into the lower corridors, where smoke and fire filled the air. The enemy had broken in black armored rebels with cold eyes and hot weapons. Jack fought with raw human strength. Every blast from his rifle pushed back the darkness. Virilia moved like a storm, graceful and deadly. Together, they held the line in the reactor chamber. Commander Kraith himself arrived. He was taller than most Dravari, wearing a red battle cloak and armed with twin plasma axes. His eyes locked onto Varelia. "You chose wrong," he growled. "I chose peace," she replied, stepping forward. "And you?" Kraith turned to Jack. "You poisoned her mind." Jack raised his rifle. "Funny. I thought I saved her." Kraith roared and attacked. The final fight was brutal. Jack ducked and fired, while Varelia clashed with Kraith, energy blade meeting plasma axes. Sparks flew. The reactor hummed dangerously. Close behind them, Kraith struck hard, pushing Varelia to her knees. He raised an axe for the final blow, but Jack tackled him, knocking the weapon from his hand. "You're finished," Jack said. Kraith sneered. "You're just a human." Varelia stood, eyes blazing. "And that's why you've already lost." With one swift strike, she disarmed him fully and brought him down. Kraith lay on the floor, defeated. They locked him in a containment field. The battle in space began to fade. The rebel fleet, seeing their leader defeated, scattered, and he surrendered. Others fled. The stars grew quiet. Hours later, on the upper deck of the Weapon Moon, a meeting was held. Human officers and Dravari leaders stood together. Varelia addressed them all. "For too long, we let old wounds decide our future. But today we chose something better." Jack stepped forward. "We showed that human and Dravari can fight together. Can win together. Can live together." Cheers echoed in the chamber. A new alliance was formed, not of power, but of peace. Later, as the sun rose over the edge of the moon, Jack and Varelia stood alone. The battlefield was gone. Only light remained. "I never thought I'd see this," Jack said softly. "Neither did I," Varelia replied. He looked at her. "What now?" She smiled. "Now we begin again," Jack chuckled. "Still not tired of me?" "Never," she said. "I never forgot you, human." Jack looked into her violet eyes. "And I never will forget you, Varelia." They stood there, two souls from different stars, now united forever.